What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about Lucid. I want to go over some expectations for this upcoming week, what might cause some volatility in the stock price, and go over everything else that you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So Lucid on Friday did lag the broader market, and there was no rhyme or reason. The broader market was really moving higher because of PCE. So when it comes down to this upcoming week, watch for shorts. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. But as far as data points for this upcoming week, you have manufacturing data on Monday. Forecast is 51. So it is above 50. So showing more of an expansion is occurring within the broader market. So night and day difference from what it was. You can even see based on this chart right here, ever since July, September-ish area, that was the low. Since then, the market's been really expanding. So again, that's something to keep in mind ultimately, but that's coming out on Monday. You have on Wednesday, you have ADP employment change. So a lot of labor data. Thursday, same old, so initial jobless claims. And then on Friday, non-farm payroll and unemployment. Unemployment right now, the forecast is 4%. Throughout the week, you have a lot of Fed speakers. So that might actually help the broader market for the first time and might not cause so much volatility, only because given the increase in fear lately, they might actually calm the market and say, hey, the data is good, blah, blah, blah. Or again, you never know. They could make it 10 times worse. But you also do have Powell on this Friday as well, so everyone's favorite. So ultimately a lot of volatility, so just kind of anticipate that. As far as companies unveiling the earnings, there are some pretty big ones, a lot of spec plays as well, but nothing that would really move the market as well as Lucid. So in reality, it's going to be a lot of the data points and a lot of manipulation. So Lucid's been a very frustrating stock ever since their earnings. So as far as some expectations from Lucid, this is what they have on their website. So they have this upcoming week a pop-up in Orlando. Looks like they are in Lucid Sapphire in Hillsborough, if I'm saying that right. And then Dusseldorf is in March 21st to the 29th. So not this upcoming week. So nothing really crazy. And if I gotta be fully honest, I get that Lucid's gone through like a big management change. I think there's been more individuals other than Peter that were fired essentially, but I think that this earnings, as what they stated, was a key pivot for them. So they're going to be expanding on their marketing as well as operations. Like, I get Mark is a interim CEO right now, so not obviously in the full position, but someone definitely should have went out there and done some sort of interview. I've seen like companies that flop on their earnings. You are seeing them on Bloomberg later that day or even the following day going over the earnings, reconfirming, hey, we kicked ass. This earnings that just passed was a triple beat. If someone looked at the stock price, they'd be like, hey, they really messed up. They didn't. The only thing that people are really focusing so much on is Peter abruptly leaving. Well, again, not leaving. He was unofficially fired. That's what I'm calling it. But essentially, he stepped away. And most likely, that's why shorts have been doubling down. So I think Lucid really messed up. And it's not too late. They can still pop on and go do an interview, but it should have been done day one. So I get that Lucid's trying to fix their marketing, but they made the very first mistake that they, like, day one. They're not really going off on the right foot, essentially. So I don't know. You know me. I like to play devil's advocate. That's what has been really bothering me. Even after when I was live streaming the earnings, I said, hey, you know what? If Mark goes on Bloomberg tomorrow, then we're going to go up so much higher, because at the time it was already 8% up or something like that. So I think Lucid definitely does need to get their crap together. If not, they are at a battle right now against some very big money. And for the many years now, I've always kind of stated, hey, whoever is shorting Lucid must hate the PIF. That's who they're trying to hurt, because Lucid it's a startup company. Like, where are they going to hurt? Like, who? It doesn't really matter all that much. If they wanted to really hurt an American company, they go after Tesla, but they're choosing to really try to destroy Lucid. And over the last like 3 days, shorts have increased almost 25 million shares, which is absolutely insane. So someone really wants to bring the PIF down. So, and even I think more and more people are catching on as that the media is kind of portraying and feeding off of that fear, as what this post even says. A lot of very clickbait titles. So Lucid boss quits after company loses 300,000 for every car sold last year. So a lot of the media is piggybacking off of that. I think there's a lot of correlation between them, but one thing that really stood out to me, so under my other YouTube channel, Financial Journey, I did a top 5 most heavily shorted stocks, EV stocks video, and Lucid, of course, was number 1, but one thing stood out to me. So as far as going into this upcoming week, 24.06% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 291.64 million shares overall are being shorted. Just on Friday, shorts did increase 6.64 million shares. And just to give you a quick overview, at its peak, they were increasing 29 million shares, as what I brought up in my video. So they are really relentless. They're absolutely trying to destroy Lucid. It's kind of a weird scenario, but going back over here for a second. So ultimately, when it comes down to this, I do cover Lucid like pretty much every day, and I've been covering them for a good 4 years now, a long time, very, very long time. So one thing that has always been the same, at least for the last 6-8 months, is this column right here, shares available. There's always been in excess of 10 million shares, always a lot of available shares. And on a side note, it's very cheap to short Lucid because the cost to borrow is 0.6. That's through IBKR. But as you can kind of see, now it is 7.8. So the first time in almost 8 months, shorts are kind of depleting the number of shares available. And you can kind of see as of February the 27th, in excess of 10 million. I'll scroll down. It's been like this for a very, very long time, like 6+ months. It's been one thing where I don't even bring it up anymore because it's always in excess of 10 million, always in excess of 10 million. But again, as of Friday, that did drop below in excess of 10 million. So even January 28th, it's like that's how it always has been. So right now, 7.8 million. So definitely something is changing. Shorts now, I don't know if maybe Peter was that like barrier to stop shorts, or maybe shorts are piggybacking off of Peter leaving. I'm not really sure, but this definitely does stand out, and it shows that there is a battle coming. So I think Lucid itself, the company, needs to really get their crap together, get their marketing together. They cannot come off as just a startup anymore, because they're around for 5 years, plus 5 years operations, and they can't use that excuse anymore. They are a true company, and they need to act like it and get their crap together, or else whoever is shorting, trying to bring the PIF down, or maybe it's just Lucid someone, they will ultimately bring Lucid pretty much to reverse stock split territory at this rate. But aside from me ranting, just anticipate shorts to again be very, very active, which is unfortunate. But aside from all of that, though, looking at options. So for the open interest for this upcoming week, you have 5,000 at that 250 and then 10,000 at that 3. Come Friday, if Lucid does get close to those strike prices, you could see shorts even more involved in the day-to-day just to suppress Lucid. But unfortunately, even with this past week, so ending February the 28th, with it closing at 222, you only have 2,000 in open interest. That was obviously expired in the money. That's not going to cause any bump up in the stock price. That's not going to do anything. So that 13,026, 26, 26 all expired worthless. So that's kind of the downside of doing options. So as far as this upcoming week, just watch for roughly around that $3 range. That's if it can gain some good momentum or something along those lines. With it at 222 though, it is trading between this S2 and this S3, so $1.97 is that next strong support, and then 237 is that next strong target / resistance. Prior to today, the Elliott Wave technicals were projecting for it to hit between that 204 and $2.23. This was done as of February the 25th. As I've mentioned, Elliott wave technicals and Lucid, they seem to be very correlated, and this is very, very accurate. So once this does update, I'll give you guys updates on that and what that is saying. But as of right now, it's still anticipating a little bit further of a pullback. But on the chart itself, honestly, there's not really much to say. Trend is very, very crappy. If you do believe in one of those, the gap that needs to be filled, that does point to, at least in some time in the foreseeable future, Lucid recovering to at least that $2.60 range. But typically, some like those gap that needs to be filled doesn't always occur, and sometimes it's always like a quarter later. But as of right now, it's below all the key pivotal moving averages. Only positive to really bring up about the chart is that it is very oversold. So if Lucid does put out a good piece of news, then you could see a kind of a push, a value rally essentially. But even from what happened on Friday, Lucid seems to be rather disconnected from macro events. So again, it's not a good kind of image overall. So let me know your thoughts on Lucid. Where do you see things going? Do you think that we're going to see a little bit lower lows, or do you think that we're going to see a recovery this week? So throw your price prediction in the comments below. What's your general thoughts on, for instance, shorts really doing what they've been doing with Lucid lately? And I guess you can even extend that a little bit further. Even outside of recently, they've been really pounding Lucid for a very long time, as I've shown you kind of in the past. Like looking here, shorts back in, it looks like 2021, short interest was only like 8%. It just kept going and going. Looks like in May and June 2023, they did return quite a lot, which I believe at that time, I'll have to kind of go back to that time period. Maybe there was some big news that caused them to return, but since then they've kind of just doubled down. So yeah, it's been a very frustrating stock to definitely be in. So let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some kick-ass buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely on point. So pop over to the Patreon, link in the description below and also the comments. With all that, appreciate all of you watching.